Today on Locked On Phoenix Suns, a 40-point win. Yes, you heard that right, you read that right, you saw that right. How much can we glean from the Suns beating the crap out of a G League team? More than you think. Next.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Phoenix Suns. I'm Brendon, Kleen, a staff writer at Awful Announcing and a credentialed Suns media member. Thank you for making Locked On Suns your first listen post-game, Monday night, Tuesday morning. Don't forget Locked On Suns free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button. Do what thousands of other Suns fans have already done. Become an everydayer and get locked on to the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode, guys, brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA when you do. Get $50 instantly when you play that first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Joining me, as always, from right here at PHX Arena, my fellow Suns credential media member. How are we feeling late on a Monday night, Ben Garcia?
I'm good. Did we ever get a correct pronunciation? Is it Phoenix Arena or is it PHX Arena? I don't know.
I'm going to go PHX.
I mean, it sounds better than Phoenix
Arena. Wouldn't they
Arena.
just call it Phoenix? Trying to be cute with it? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it costs too much. Maybe they're thinking about getting
per letter cost.
Maybe they're thinking
that?
about getting rid of a coach, and so they're not really too sure.
Yeah,
they're trying to save money when they
Vogel,
can.
Bud, they can't do OENI, whatever. All right.
I'm good though. I'm good. Let's break it down.
129-89 is the final score. Suns over the Toronto Raptors, a team that they did struggle with on the road previously, so nice to see that. The Raptors were without Ochai Agbaji, Jakob Poeltl, Chris Boucher, who absolutely killed them in that last game and always seems to. So shorthanded version of one of the worst teams in the league, but yes, the Suns did get the job done in spite of all that. And so let's just zoom in on really when this game was decided, which was the second quarter, and that's at least my moment of the game. The Suns went on, I believe, a 23-5 run as part of a 39-9 run throughout this whole quarter, and it was, I mean, I want to say everything we've wanted to see from this Suns team, but that even feels too basic. It's everything you want to see on a basketball court. It was just loose. It was defense to offense. It was effort. It was joy and like fun from the players, from the crowd, whatever. It was one of the more enjoyable, competitive, energetic quarters we've seen from this team all year.
I mean, we got a Micic sighting that run carried them over so far. Like, those were the players we were seeing. We haven't seen the Suns be able to beat a team, but not just beat on them, step on their throat. One of the things I was really worried about in this game, which obviously harping on the second quarter, that's really when the momentum shifted. It's 29-24 after that first quarter. And I'm going to be honest with you, Brendon, I was like, oh my God, they're going to lose this game. They came out, at first I think it was a 7-2 to start the game, and they kind of got up, but then you quickly look up and the Raptors are on a little bit of a run here. And towards the end of that first quarter, guys' kinds of heads were down. I was kind of taking a peek over at the Suns bench, and I was like, what have the Suns done? What have the Suns had issues with all year long? Once they get punched in the face, they have a really hard time standing up. And I wouldn't say it was a punch in the face, but I'd say it was a nice little jab. And the Suns got up, they responded, and they beat up on this Raptors team. I would ask you, what do you think sparked the Suns' play tonight? We have not seen them play a full, 24 points in the first quarter is not bad, so I'll count it as a full 48 minutes total beatdown of a team in terms of, yes, we had the Kings won the other night, but they haven't beat a team by 40 points in 2009.
Yeah. So I would say, right, like they played an awful team. But at the same time,
they played a lot of awful
they
teams
played the Mavericks, the shorthanded Mavs, who kept it close a couple weeks ago. They obviously, the Grizzlies they've struggled with, and that team's been missing players every single time. This exact Raptors team, okay, yes, they had some of their role players, but that they had no business losing that one. So, I mean, it was the competitiveness. I think it was they got hot from three, but more than that, I think it was who was on the court during that stretch and who was in the rotation in this game, right? So Grayson Allen, it sounds like it could be a minute He has a left foot strain, a lower body strain. That's tough.
Why rush him back?
They said Bradley Beal. Bud said pregame that Beal is going to miss at least a week now with this left hamstring thing that he left the game yesterday with, and so he's somewhat by necessity, but obviously benched Bull and everything too, and I think that so in that first quarter, so Colin Gillespie gets the start. I think, take it or leave it there. The number one thing that I feel like allowed Toronto to get off to the start that they did, they had 14 points in the paint in the first quarter alone, and I just felt like Nick Richards just wasn't imposing himself on the game. And so whether it was Orlando Robinson or any number of their other guys, I think Robinson had like 8 of his points in that first quarter, and he's just an energy big. He's not anything spectacular, but those types of guys, when Richards isn't really playing with the level of force, they're just getting easy shots around the basket, being spoon-fed. It quickly had like 4 or 5 assists. And then once, I feel like, honestly, Richards left the court and Oso got on the court, I'm not pinning it all on just that. Obviously, Dunn was out there, Gillespie was out there for a lot of those. Honestly, Tyus was out there for the second quarter run that we're homing in on right now. But the center switch especially, I think, set a new tone in that second quarter where those shots weren't coming as easily. They were, turning misses into easy offense on the other end. They were able to get out and move the ball because Oso's a big part of that too. And I think that was what it was. I mean, it's those guys, whether it's Gillespie in the fourth quarter against the Clippers, whether it's these rookies all season long, Cody Martin tonight for the first time, it's been consistent. When they're out there, the energy is noticeable. It's just they haven't always been out there.
Well, that's the point that we've kind of said all year long. It's like, why did you sit Ryan Dunn or my thing was, why would you send Oso Ighodaro to the G League? Because at that point, the season was going downhill then too, and I understand he wasn't getting playing time, but that kind of turns me over so we don't talk all about the rookies at this point to Nick Richards. Nick Richards there's the old saying, you get what you pay for. There's a reason why he was 3 second-round picks. It felt like a lot to us because that was all we had in terms of currency to go trade for players, him and Josh Okogie. But I'm not seeing that big of a gap between him and Jusuf Nurkic. Nurkic is obviously worse, especially in this system. But Nick Richards, it's very hot and cold with him. And on a night like tonight where you felt like he could at least take advantage of what the Raptors were doing, and again, a couple of nights ago against the Lakers, you got to be able to provide more than what you've been doing. And I just think with Nick Richards, he might be better served, and I don't think it's obviously a hot take, as the Suns' backup center for years to come. And you're going to be back in that market of trying to find one in the offseason.
He missed a couple bunnies. He missed a couple looks around the basket on the offensive end, and I feel like he's a player who really runs hot and cold. And I just mentioned it with a guy like Orlando Robinson, right? Yeah. Like, that's not even a player most fans have ever heard of. It's just a role player on a tanking team, but he is the epitome of what you kind of just need Nick Richards to be. A guy who just runs the floor, plays hard, makes the most of his opportunities, and you can send him out there for 20 minutes and get it. And so Richards just hasn't consistently been that. But when they did switch it up, I mean, look, you just have to look at the plus minuses in this game. Plus 38 for Royce O'Neal, 33 for Tyus Jones, 39 for Oso Ighodaro, 24 for Cody Martin, 23 for Book. Like, that was this quarter, and it was all just because of how infectious that stuff can be and how much it flipped the minute that they changed up the rotation.
Energy can only take you so far. Like, at some point, it does wear a little thin. It's like the Josh Okogie thing. He plays with a ton of energy. I love watching Josh Okogie just because he gave effort. But at the end of the day, he's a second, third-tier NBA player. I wonder what the rotation is going to look like in the next couple of games because, yes, I want the combination of Cody Martin and of the rookies and Royce O'Neal even to an extent in the game consistently. But those guys as well do have their shortcomings. Ryan Dunn's not a great shooter. Cody Martin's an okay shooter. Oso Ighodaro defensively against better centers, probably not going to do well. And then Royce O'Neal. Sometimes he's going to shoot 6 for 6. Most of the time he's going to shoot 0 for 6 from 3. So I just wonder how Bud is going to, I don't know, balance out those lineups per se.
So that takes us to my lesson of the game. So let's just get to that. A bigger picture question about the rotation, the roster, the style that we saw tonight coming up next. First, today's show is brought to you by Hungryroot. When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, we've all had the same problem: not enough time. Between work, life, and trying to eat healthier, we're all constantly feeling stressed out. And that's not really going to get you where you want to go. You go to the grocery store, buy stuff you don't need, or you don't know how to cook, or you don't have the actual time to cook, and then sticking with your health goals just becomes a nightmare. But everything changes when you discover Hungryroot. It's been a game changer for all of us here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and it's the easiest way to eat healthy without the stress. With Hungryroot, it's like having a personal shopper and a nutritionist all in one. They take care of your grocery shopping, recommend meals and groceries based on your tastes and health goals, whether that's something like high protein or even anti-inflammatory types of foods. And the best part is every meal is ready in 15 minutes or less. Quick, healthy meals that taste great, delivered straight to your door, a time saver, and a surefire healthy option. You're going to love Hungryroot as much as we do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life by going to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA for 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA. Don't miss out. Today's show also brought to you by Monarch Money. If you ever check your bank account and wondered, where did all that money go? We all have. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it can be easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just any budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start actually building wealth. Monarch is great because it puts all the stuff you might be doing elsewhere, maybe heck even on a pad of paper or in some other notepad or whatever it is around the house, something on your phone, whatever, all in one place. That means track your accounts, track your spending, and your future long-term goals all in one place conveniently. So take control of your finances right now with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right, keeping the show rolling here. So here's my lesson of the game. Let me rephrase. The Suns overthought building this roster around these guys. Tonight, perfect example. Whether it's just Book next year or whether we're looking backward of what ifs with Book and KD, or heck, even if KD does stick around next season. 2 superstar scorers, 1 superstar scorer, length, athleticism, energy, and selflessness around it. Look what can happen. Mm-hmm. You win by 40. You have a 39-11 second quarter. You make this crowd come alive and actually enjoy themselves for the first time in 6 months. You compete with the style of NBA basketball that the rest of the league is playing. Like, I'm not saying that a roster of Cody Martin and Ryan Dunn and whatever as your like 3rd, 4th, 5th best players is gonna be competitive in the modern NBA. But whatever the equivalents of those guys are, as we're thinking about building out this roster next season, or you're wondering, where did the Suns go wrong? Why can't they just whatever? They didn't prioritize players like this enough, and they need to going forward. And tonight showed it to you how easy basketball can look, even for a team with so much crap going on, when everybody just slots into that type of role. And even Book and KD can have relatively easy nights when that stuff is clicking the way that it has not this whole season.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't necessarily think that, because here's the thing. The Bradley Beal thing was interesting, right? Because you only gave up Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and a bunch of second-round picks, and pick swaps that I don't think will ever be exercised, even with the Suns being as bad as they are. The argument to that is you could have gotten a mid-level exception, or who knows, a Jordan Poole, or whatever it was.
Yeah, or not gone over the second apron.
Or just, again, not gone over the second apron. I totally agree with that. The other factor of that is also this. It's really hard to go find a Derrick Jones Jr. or Jaden McDaniels. The thing in the NBA is those lengthy forwards, 3-and-D guys, everyone wants them. They are in short supply, and they are in massive demand. So I would agree with you that is absolutely true. And myself and other people that agree with the Bradley Beal trade at the time, like, yes, I was wrong in that aspect. I would agree with you in that too. I just don't know how easy that's going to be. If you trade Kevin Durant and you're able to get a couple of those guys, lengthy, those guys that would fit around Booker, then it is interesting. Then I come to your side, where I would say as well, this team doesn't have to be in a pit of bleep next year. It can be a fun team to watch if you make the right trade for Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, I think, still two good scorers that I think can play off each other in some way.
If you trade KD, Beal's gone too, because they get more to get off of Beal. I think whatever.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. It'd be curious to see what that would look like. And I'm not going to speak in definites anymore because I agree with you. Anything can change the NBA. But I'm just saying, if you put a roster of a collection of talent that you get for Kevin Durant, some picks, hopefully make the right decision in the draft, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, your two scorers, and put shooters and 3-and-D guys around them, yes, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, and I don't even mean just wings and forwards, right? Like, I mean, Colin Gillespie is an example. Oso Ighodaro is an example. Those guys, that's not.
Yeah, but you can only have so many of those
Jaden
guys.
McDaniels.
You can only have.
What do you mean?
You can't run a lineup out there of a bunch of Colin Gillespies, at some point.
I get that, but you also can't run a lineup out there of just Cody Martin. So I'm just saying, you were saying, well, everybody wants wings. It's not even just wings. It's guys who just.
Oh, you're saying, okay.
Guys who play fast, who hustle, who do the dirty work, who do those things. When you have guys who are older, who are specialists, who are less athletic types of players like a Yusuf Nurkic or a Mason Plumlee, then that can be what happens. I think it is yes, the fact that it's Dunn and O'Neal and Martin. Those guys are wings. Those guys are very in-demand types of players. Those guys are what wins in the NBA right now. But I think when you're right to point out, right, like the Suns, they didn't really give one of those up necessarily to get Beal. They actually did try to take a flyer on one in Nasir Little, and that went terribly, but they tried that, right?
Yeah.
They got Darius Baisley for Dario Saric at the 2023 deadline.
Yeah.
He did nothing. So it's not like they've just like never even bothered to get guys like this on their roster or anything like that. And they did draft Dunn, of course, but, whether it's undervaluing Chimani Kamara, for instance, whether it's, probably overvaluing Grayson Allen, frankly, whether it is giving up 3 forwards for KD in the first place.
Yeah.
There's just been too many moments where I feel like that stuff hasn't been there. But even, again, if you set aside the wings and forwards of it, I would, Gillespie over Tyus Jones even as one example, because Gillespie is a guy who he rebounds better than you expect for his position. He seems to fly around on a better defensively, whatever it is. I agree with your point that you can kind of pick nits and go through it all, but maybe in more of a forward-looking way. Those have to be the types of guys that you prioritize. Selfless dudes, balanced dudes, two-way players, whatever position they are, that has to be the mold. No more Nurkic's, no more Tyus Jones's, no more Grayson Allen's. You got to embrace what's winning in the NBA, and tonight you kind of saw what that can look like.
Now, that what you said, I can 1,000% agree with. Obviously, I guess I got your point wrong a little bit there, where I thought it was just basically looking for Jaden McDaniels and Derrick Jones Jr. That's incredibly hard to do. What you said
because Cody Martin's not that, right? He's
no,
undersized. He's more of a finesse player.
You do need those guys.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you as well. That was something that we had talked about on Friday when I was talking with Jason Timothy. He kind of said the same thing you did. A guy he threw out there was a guy the Suns already had, and like Jordan Goodwin, who's a free agent at the end of the year. Like guys like that who are gritty, dive after the ball, selfless, all the things that you're saying as well. Out with the Tyus Joneses, in with the Colin Gillespies, which are basically the same player, but just with a different mentality. Same player as in same build and same things that they do well. And that would bring me as well to some of the things that I've learned today. And it's I just want to call him Caleb Martin for the meme, but Cody Martin coming out tonight, I mean, I guess he's been here since last game as well, but his ability to just be annoying on defense is a breath of fresh air. Tonight, if I haven't looked at his statistics because I think he made one shot tonight. And it's not something I genuinely care about at this point.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
One, he didn't need to. They scored 129 anyway. And two, that's not what he's here for.
He was 1 for 6. I thought he had a three-pointer. I thought that's the one he hit. But he was 1 for 6 tonight, 0 for 3 from 3. And I didn't care about any of that.
Yeah.
Because it felt like he was everywhere on the court. And that very much bleeds into your point is I just want to see Bud reward effort. Because at this point, a championship is long gone. A second round is long gone. Winning a singular playoff game might be long gone too. I don't really care at this point if they make the play-in, but I would like to see Bud, who I think should be back next year, because I just can't. I don't know if I can get my arms around firing another coach in 4 years. That's the only reason. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I would say to that is, like just reward those guys. Because most of these guys aren't going to be here next year. Tyus Jones, Kevin Durant, I mean, hell, maybe Bradley Beal, maybe Grayson Allen, maybe get someone to take, like, I would, half of this roster ain't going to be there this year. I would just like to see him start to build a culture of, you give effort, you will play.
That's what's, I mean, that's like a little bit of the negative of tonight, even in a win, is like, why did it take so long?
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It really, like, I don't like to do the thing in sports or in anything that I'm thinking or about or just living life, like, this should be this way just because I think so. Mm-hmm. You're just going to infuriate yourself. You don't have all the information in order to be able to say that. But in this case, we're back to square one.
I don't know what to
where
say.
These guys are succeeding in exactly the same ways that they were earlier in the year. And even just with Gillespie, it's like, I don't think he's a player who should be playing 35 minutes a night or ever would be, because he's undersized and he's not a great scorer and all that stuff. But 15 minutes, how much more did he need to do after that Clippers fourth quarter to at least earn a look? And it took him a week and a half, and now he's getting it, and he's just looking exactly like he did in that fourth quarter, minus the shot making. So it's just these weird things where Bud will find something and then move away from it, and then come back to it, and then it goes exactly like it did before he went away from it. It feels a little bit like panicky to me in a way that makes me feel like the confidence from the coaching staff just is not there. But hopefully a night like this can get them back on track.
Before, I have a bunch of people come after me trying to say, like, I really want Bud here. The only argument I have for keeping Bud is I just don't want to have another coach in another year, because I don't know if you can get I don't think you can get a quality candidate continuously firing people. So, and next year if the Suns
wouldn't you say that the rest of the league, like, if you just said forget about Frank Vogel,
fired,
like severance, break your mind,
I'd fire
never existed, and Monty Williams never existed,
I'd fire him.
You'd fire Bud.
Yeah.
And I think if any other coach in the whole NBA, assistant coach, college coach, anyone that they could hire, if you were to say, don't judge Bud based on, was he the last coach and now then we're going to fire him again, but just did he do good this year? Did he do well as the head coach of the Phoenix Suns? I think freaking Coach K would say he did a bad job, so that's kind of where I've eventually just kind of landed on with that, and we'll obviously have plenty of time to talk about it. It's just if I throw that stuff out in my head, he's not doing a good job.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I told you I have no argument and no legs to stand on, because one of the things as well tonight.
Well, we were on the same page with that for a long time, and I've just had to kind of almost force myself to flush that down the toilet, because it's like you can't necessarily make the decision based on that.
It's a really good argument. I will concede losing that argument. One of the things that with Bud today that's anti-Bud was, man, it just feels like at times I was talking to one of the media members next to me, and I said, what the hell is Devin Booker still doing in this game? There's 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Feels like all coaches do that, though, don't they?
I know,
it's
but
infuriating.
I know, man.
All fans are pulling their hair out, and coaches are like, give them a couple more minutes.
But the one thing that I was saying is, like, the only thing that can make this go horribly. I told the guy next to me, I was like, exactly.
Yeah.
They could blow their 40-point lead and win by 2 points, and we would all say, oh, hell, at least they won. If they win by 40 and Booker sprains an ankle, you're just like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. And so that is just like, why are you playing with fire? Why? You're already on the hot seat. So
the coaching thing will be obviously.
But you're right. It does feel like a lot
of
coaches do that.
Huge story down the stretch, and it'll feel like a agonizing choice either way, because either you're wasting a bunch of money and time with this or you're trying somebody new yet again. Let's get to my magic number, and we'll do a standings watch before we go. First, today's show is brought to you by, as I mess up with all of that display, PrizePicks. Really great time of year for PrizePicks. We got basically every sport heating up. Basketball season down the stretch. No better way to get in on that action than with PrizePicks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With PrizePicks, you just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. It's easy to use, available in over 30 states, and lets you mix and match projections across different sports. That's right. So let's say you're like, okay, the Ryan Dunn thing is real. He's back. He is doing his thing. You're going to go more on rebounds because he always seems to get his hand on a few loose balls. And you're going to go more on points because I believe he has his second and third highest scoring games in the past 4 since he got back into the rotation. So that's a fun, easy one. Let's say, who are the Suns playing on Wednesday? Let's say you want to go Kobe White less points because you just believe that maybe Dunn's going to shut him down. That's it. That can be your whole lineup, or you can cross over with, I don't know, check out hockey, check out baseball. That's back too, whatever you want to go with, or you can just stick with what you know here with the Suns, with the NBA, whatever. 2 to 5 players, more or less on a stat type, and watch that money come in as few as 15 minutes from that win. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. All right, let's close it out, Ben. So magic number from this one, 7. Shot attempts by Kevin Durant. Very weird game. He had 3 like midway through the third quarter, and then he had a little bit of a flurry. He got hot. And look, this was a game where he didn't need to be anything more than that. It's refreshing because how many games have we said, man, the Book and KD combined for 70, 80 points, whatever it was, and that wasn't enough. Like, how frustrating, whatever. But I will also say, KD looked tired to me in this game.
Can you blame him?
No, I can't. I
him?
absolutely do not blame him, and it just makes it that much nicer that he was only needing to play 26 minutes. But it was, I just feel like if this game had been close, we would have noticed that, and it would have been just even more frustrating that he's had to play so much. But hopefully, second night of a back-to-back, physical game against the Lakers, get rested, winnable game on Wednesday, and just kind of say thank you. We didn't have to rely on you so much, and thank you for your services the previous 65 games.
Yeah, Kevin Durant did a lot of the, role player things today. The thing that Bill Simmons was kind of coining today, basically saying Jimmy Butler does the little things better than Kevin Durant does. I thought today was a clear showing of Kevin Durant just doing the little things. He didn't shoot the ball like lights out tonight. He's 5 for 7. He missed I think it was his first couple of shots, and then after that made a bunch of them. So like he just wasn't needed tonight. And if Kevin Durant was placed on the Golden State Warriors and had to give the same like type of output that Jimmy Butler had, like I just think that he could do that. And so Kevin Durant doing that tonight, it just shows like, hey, he's able to do little things.
That was a weird argument by Simmons because
it was strange.
I don't know if he realizes KD played for that team.
Well, there was a lot of holes to be poked in that Bill Simmons thing. I see what he was trying to get to, but none of it really made any sense. Because he already did play for that team. And it was like
he played a more balanced style with that team.
Also, the Warriors tried to trade for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, they wanted him
more than Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
so like that whole ability for him to come out and play that role-playing thing was honestly like poetic justice for today to do that. And he wasn't needed tonight, and that was good to see, man. Kevin Durant is, if there's anyone that deserves a blow, it is him and Devin Booker, but more so Kevin Durant because he's 80 years old.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the 9-year difference, he gets a little less run in a game like this. But, the 3 assists that he had, I think, all came with – I don't think they were all in the first quarter, but they were definitely all in the first quarter and a half. They were sending help toward him on the catch, and he was just dishing it. He had a couple to Ryan Dunn, and if they're going to do that and you're going to give Ryan Dunn that wide open of a 3, it's going to work out more often than not. So he definitely made the right reads out of those situations.
Yeah, Kevin Durant as well tonight. It was just invisible for the first time all year in a good way. So We just haven't had that, and being able to see those guys do that and be able to just sit down. Like, I watched Kevin Durant walk over to Bud halfway through like the third or fourth, maybe a little bit through the third quarter. He didn't say anything to him because I don't think a player of the competitiveness of Kevin Durant would ever ask to be pulled out of the game. But in my opinion, he looked at Bud like, could you get me out of here? Without saying it. Now, Lynn, I don't know. I'm just making up nonsense. It's just what I see. But it did look like, can I please sit down now? We're up by 30 at that point. So
I mean, he played 37 minutes yesterday. You know what I mean?
I don't think he's played under 30 minutes all year.
So
I don't think that's the case.
I'm sure he is feeling rested tonight. He took some photos on the court as we were getting ready to record, and he's going to have a peaceful night's sleep. Okay, standings watch before we wrap here. So the Mavs did not play tonight. The Suns are now 1 game back. They both play on Wednesday. The Mavs play in Indianapolis. The Suns host the Bulls.
How about the Suns just win?
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I will just say we are looking at a situation where the next time you and I are sitting in this spot on Wednesday night, the Suns could be the 10 seed. That is where we are. So my belief against all belief, when I felt like an idiot to even say, oh yeah, they're getting the 10 and whatever. This is what I thought would happen. The Mavs can barely field a roster.
Did you see Kendrick Perkins' his breakout yesterday from ESPN where he basically said the Mavs are spiraling and are trying to give the 10 seed away, and the Suns can't get it.
I mean, he's not wrong, but he's
going
to be wrong maybe by Wednesday night because they are.
I don't know, man. The Bulls,
they're losing everybody.
Let's see if we can beat the Bulls. I don't want to feel a Kobe White.
Yeah.
45 burger coming.
And the one thing about the Bulls is they are still actually playing their guys and everything. So, like tonight,
are they fighting for the 10 seed too?
I think that they
them
might
and the
be.
Heat and the Hawks feel
and
like
the Nets, yeah,
are 7, 8, 9, 10 or 8, 9, 10 teams.
It's Kobe White, it's Vooch, it's Herter who ended up there at the deadline. So, yeah, not overlooking that. Maybe the Pacers slip up and Dallas somehow beats them. I'm not counting my eggs before they're hatched, but I am just saying
it is a possibility.
That's where this is headed, and then from that point, the Suns just need to at least hold that and not fall back again. And I kind of think that they should be able to, because Dallas, again, they're like literally there was news articles about could they forfeit games. That's where the Mavs are. So as long as the Suns aren't that ugly, then they should be fine.
Remember, Suns fans, it always could be worse. You could be the 76ers who just lost PG for the year, or the Clippers. I'm sorry, or the Mavericks who lost, I think, everything.
They willfully chose this fate for themselves. Meanwhile, Quentin Grimes also scored 46, and they traded him away too.
Quentin Grimes has been on like a heater the past couple of games.
Yeah.
He's out one of those games, but still.
That'll wrap us up. Hit follow or subscribe if you have not already. We'll be back with you tomorrow breaking down the latest, and then we'll have Suns Bulls recap Wednesday night from right here at PHX Arena once again. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll catch you then.